Happy Juneteenth, my people. How are y'all doing today? Hold on, let me go ahead and grab my flag. Go ahead. Happy Juneteenth.
There we go. I actually had an idea. I'm like, we should be playing Lift Every Voice and Sing. That should have been the music we open to.
That would have been super dope. That would have been super dope. But sorry, guys, we digress.
Sorry, guys.
My name is Michael Anthony, and with me, as always, the illustrious, a person who got bit by a snake, and then 5 days later, the snake died. Miss Amber Gray, what is the deal,
I'm not
homie?
sure if that's a compliment. I'm not sure. Hey, how's it going? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling tired. I'm worn out by a 3-year-old with him all day, but I am here. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling blessed. It's Friday. It's nice
Friday.
Outside.
Yes, it's beautiful outside.
You know, we just got a lot of stuff to discuss. But yeah, you know, just been, you know, busy. But I think that's good. That's good to, you know, be busy and not have, you know, things going on.
Yeah, things could be opposite.
Right. There's so much going on. So much going on in the world.
So much.
That we just have to kind of just, I don't know, you want to just jump right into it? I just feel like we just need to go ahead and just jump right into it.
As you guys saw our little sneak peek, and hi, Aunt Lisa.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Aunt Lisa. Hey, Auntie. Hey, everybody who's in, YouTube. We're also on Facebook and in Twitch. You know, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, like, and all that stuff. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Share. So yes, as you guys probably have noticed, June 17th, Juneteenth was signed as a federal holiday. This is the first one since Martin Luther King's birthday, I think in 1983, when that was signed.
Yep.
So it's been some years. We're talking about almost 40 years since we've had a federal holiday, you know, written into action, I guess you could say. So this is an interesting time because it's one of those things where a lot of us had already kind of been celebrating. Like I've been telling you, I've been celebrating it. My first memory of Juneteenth is probably around 7 or so, when we were going to like Evergreen and San Jose, when we were going to like the fairgrounds and going to Juneteenth celebrations and stuff. But of course, then I just thought it was a bunch of black people eating and partying. You know, I didn't know what it meant. I just knew it's freedom. Okay, freedom. I don't know what that means, but July 4th, Juneteenth, like what's the difference? So of course, when you're young, you don't have that context. Until you're a little older, do your research, you realize what it means. So
right. And then, you know, you have a different perspective than I have because with me being in Colorado and then me sort of being on the East Coast, I really wasn't exposed that much to Juneteenth, you know, as far as any festivals, any sort of, you know, even lectures on Juneteenth or what it was about. I found out about it once I got into college at A&T, and they spoke about Juneteenth, but once again, out of sight, out of mind. So I have never seen anything, and it wasn't until I was in graduate school in 2015 where Durham, North Carolina, they had a Juneteenth festival, and I went out there and got my camera and interviewed people and talked to folks. And I was surprised by how many people actually didn't even know what Juneteenth was, what it signified.
They're just out there.
They were just out there because they knew that it was a black parade. They knew it was a black festival. And of course, what do black people love? We love music. We love turkey legs. We love funnel cake. We love that lemonade that's so sweet that it just makes the back, the sweet tea
and lemonade and all that.
You know, and so that's what we, you know, go to those festivals for. So whenever I went out there and talking to people, I wanted to know, and they didn't have any information to hand out to anybody about what Juneteenth was about, the backstories, nothing like that. So it's sort of one of those things to me that became sort of personal, like why doesn't anybody know about Juneteenth?
Yeah, why don't they know the history of this, you know, these particular events? I think that happens a lot with us. It's like we like getting together, but we don't know why we're getting together. We don't know the history of why we're doing it. But hopefully with the influx of information that's coming out now, and now that it is a federal holiday, because one thing that we have been struggling to find is like quality content on Juneteenth. Just quality documentaries, little vignettes. I mean, there have been some decent little vignettes on YouTube. But we'll say Vox is like one of the premier little, you know, short form videos that, you know, really infotainment type thing. They're really good about that. But as far as that, like PBS, we found a PBS.
But hold on, don't get too far. Don't get too far. Okay, but you know, as of course always, you guys are the third host. You know, thank you for joining us. Please get into the chat. Of course, today's a celebration. It's a holiday, and that's why we wanted to bring it to you guys today, which is Juneteenth Unchained. So, you know, to kind of go into Juneteenth, we just wanted to look at some historical facts a little bit, you know, and because numbers don't lie, and I'm a big component about numbers don't lie. So, of course, everybody knows about the 1619 Project. That's whenever in Point Comfort, which is now Fort Monroe, Virginia, that's whenever the first 20 to 30 documented slaves arrived to Virginia. Then let's fast forward several hundred years to September 22nd, 1862, where President Abraham Lincoln signed into law, or I'm sorry, wrong. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which
wasn't a law.
Which was not a law. It was an announcement to let people know that the end of slavery is to come. And then he declared it on the January 1st, 1863. Right? So then, of course, we're getting towards the end of the Civil War. Now, proclamation was written 1862. But then over in Galveston, Texas, they thought it was still slavery going on. So then the Union soldiers come in there and tell all of the slaves that now they are free. And that was on June 19th, 1865. So just doing a little math, with us celebrating Juneteenth today, it would be the 156th anniversary if we were celebrating Juneteenth consecutive years.
Right.
But of course, today marks the first.
Right.
We won't digress into that until later. And then, of course, why we were celebrating Juneteenth is because of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery. But Congress didn't pass or ratify the 13th Amendment until December 6, 1865. So that was 6 months after the folks in Galveston found out that they were free. So the Juneteenth sort of kind of kicked off the celebration a little bit before it even really became law.
Right.
And then just one other tidbit, or I want to ask you a question, because I already have up here what the last state, was the state of Mississippi, was the last state to ratify and abolish slavery February 7th, 2013. Okay.
I remember reading about that.
But I think a lot of people think that, like, Juneteenth and the Emancipation Proclamation just ended it all. But that's not quite the truth, right?
False. It's completely false. I think that's where you're seeing a lot of pushback, and, we get this kind of mindset where Black people aren't satisfied, right? We're not happy with anything. We gave y'all something. We're giving you Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Y'all not happy. Well, the problem is, it's like there's a lot of misinformation once again. The Emancipation Proclamation and Juneteenth did not end slavery. There were still slaves after 1865. There were states that were not a part of the Emancipation Proclamation. To name a few, Missouri, Kentucky, Delaware, and Maryland were not Confederate states, and they were not Union states. They were on the fringe. So Lincoln didn't want to swing the pendulum and upset them, so they joined the Confederacy. So he left them out of the Emancipation Proclamation. They still, some of them still were either not necessarily slave owners, but a lot of them were. So a lot of Confederates would actually go to some of those areas, like specifically Texas. So some of those Confederate areas, Texas was seen as kind of like this free-for-all zone right after the Emancipation Proclamation was proclaimed or issued. So a lot of those southern Alabama, Mississippi slave owners would actually go to Texas to keep their slaves because they knew they could keep them in Texas. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of misinformation. The last slaves, like you just put, were not all freed, on the 19th of June. There were still, I think, 4,000 or so. I think we read something.
Yeah,
there was
400,000 or something like that. It was
some huge number.
It was a huge number of people that after Galveston that were still enslaved and didn't even know. Yep. But the thing is, though, it wasn't law, though.
That's right.
It was just the Union won the war against the Confederate Army, but it was not law.
That's right. And the only reason why he signed the Emancipation Proclamation was strategic. He wanted to make sure the Union won first before he did the Emancipation. So this is not like, some bleeding heart, I really feel for the enslaved. It's like, well, let's hopefully we have a leg up by winning. If we don't win, then we got to really think about that. We got to really think about if we want to, let the enslaved go. So it's only because they won that we even got this proclamation. Correct.
Which, this announcement. Which now, after us doing this research, it's like, well, the Emancipation Proclamation, it was huge, and of course I know the chat, if y'all let me know that I'm wrong, then, please let me know. But, we hold the proclamation up as this huge thing, but it was just an announcement of what's to come. But the thing is, though, it took 3 years for it to actually come, which we know government moves at a snail's pace. But then do we need to put as much weight on the Emancipation Proclamation now? I mean, once again, it's the President of the United States sort of doing it, but like you said, he left certain names out. It wasn't for all the states. He was really strategic as far as trying to galvanize his base. So you know, just not saying that we need to put it in the dustbin, you know, but just maybe interrogate, perhaps.
It's definitely, I think it's because it's one of his kind of like pinnacle.
It is his presidency. Right? It would be his. It would be
it's his pinnacle of his presidency. It's kind of like, if we take that away, what was Lincoln? I mean, and Lincoln is a very, you know, highly loved president.
Oh, highly loved. Democrats and Republicans love Lincoln.
Exactly. Right. So you're right. It's one of those things that now that we have this information available to us, that we can kind of go back and really see that this was not, you know, as cut and dry as our school system has made it seem. Like, and Lincoln freed the slaves. Moving on to the next unit in history. Like, there was really
the cotton gin. You know, the cotton gin came up. You know?
Exactly. It's like they kind of just made it seem like 63 was it, 1863 was it, and everybody was friends now. Everything was great until, you know, we got Reconstruction and things went left again and all. It's like, no.
Right.
Let's let's back up a little bit.
I mean,
it's one of those things that you really, once you interrogate and really do the research, it kind of changes your mind.
It does. And once again, we're not trying to rewrite history. It's just history is already written. We're just telling you what's going on.
Right. We're regurgitating what's already out.
Exactly. And of course, one of the things that was very controversial is that we received a present from another country because America did the right thing by abolishing slavery.
Right.
And it would be Lady Liberty, correct? You know,
that's right.
And I think it would be, I'm sorry, wrong graphic I had up there, guys. But this is the graphic, but of course we'll get to the other one. But there's supposedly two different renditions of Lady Liberty. One is of a black woman with a lantern and having broken some chains. And then, of course, the one that we have off the New York Harbor. And there's been a lot of debate recently as far as what is true, what is false. We do know that, you know, as far as on the feet of Lady Liberty, we do have the shackles laying down, you know, where her right foot is and, you know, going around her left foot. And then, of course, this picture that I first had up, which is supposedly the first drawings, which is a black woman with her hands over her head breaking the chain, or one where she has the lantern in her right hand and then the chains are in her left hand, dangling down, which signifies the ones that was going to be around her feet.
Right.
So, you know, with this... You've seen both of them, right? And you've kind of looked at them and things like that. Like, what's your feeling about this whole Statue of Liberty conversation? Oh, and I'm sorry. And before I move on to that, just really quickly, is that with this whole conversation about was there a black Lady Liberty or not? Well, you know, some people went out there and said that they fact checked, you know, USA Today being one of them, and some other reputable journalist entities have said that that is false, that the original Lady Liberty is what we see in the New York Harbor, and it was always like that. There was never going to be a black woman or anything about shackles or anything like that. So, thoughts?
Okay. Well, comments. I've seen the Black Lady Liberty in Paris in person, and it's beautiful. It's very small. Like I said, like scale-wise, it's just the size of a person. You know, like it might be a 6-foot statue, maybe.
Right.
But it's interesting because Paris has a different take on slavery. They have, like, throughout the whole city, have like different monuments about the ending of slavery. They've got the Lady Liberty, and then they've got 10 feet tall broken shackles that are just in the middle of this kind of town square area, which is like, I have some pictures of both of them.
Right.
And it's one of those things where I was like, oh, that'd be, you know, I went to Paris like, 7 years ago, I guess it was now. So this is before, obviously, the conversation we're having. It's before a lot of the kind of unrest we've had with, you know, social justice. And I'm not saying Paris, we already know Paris is not perfect. Look at Haiti, look at all we already know that. So we're not saying that they're, you know, progressive because of this, but
they were selling slaves too.
Exactly. But it's interesting that they kind of memorialized it. I mean, I don't know how long those have been up there, so I can't tell you how long Lady Liberty's been there in display, or the shackles, but I'm sure for a couple of many decades, we'll just say. So it's interesting that they kind of already have it on display, the tragic history of how colonialism kind of ravaged, you know, their country, America, you know, the slave trade. So it's interesting that that's already been in display, and we're still here in 2021 talking about Juneteenth in a very kind of interesting conversation. And then obviously critical race theory is like a hot button item again too, where people are too afraid to let the kids know what really happened, so let's sanitize it or just do away with it. So I like that at least the country has a visual display of the past, the horrible past, while we're here just still grappling with even talking about it. So
yeah, no, I think those are such great points, you know. But do you think or like, what's your intuition tell you about a black Statue of Liberty coming here, and that United States said no, redesign?
I kind of feel like they probably said no. I don't know. I don't see us being progressive enough to accept it. I just,
would you think
we're not progressive now? So would you think they would have accepted this in the 1800s?
Well, do you think that the French were even progressive enough to even put a black person as the face? You know, like, I guess.
Well, they did.
Well, oh, that's true. That's right.
They did.
That's right. I'm sorry. Touche.
So, I don't think that we're just not on that level.
We're petty.
I mean, we're very petty.
We would be definitely petty, and to have that, to say, to bring your humble masses to us, because that's what the Statue of Liberty, you know, says, like, bring your humble masses, and I'll protect, and all those other things. It's supposed to be like the gateway to the new Americas, which is supposed to be open to all people, this melting pot. And to have a black face do that, I could definitely see them saying no. The Daughters of the Confederacy, I'm pretty sure they had something to do with that.
I don't see them ever accepting it.
I don't either. So even talking about, you know, our show last week when we was talking about cancel culture and how people literally rewrote history, I'm wondering if this is one of that, because these articles came out just last year in 2020, you know. So, you know, I don't know. But the sad thing is that we're even talking about this topic because if it wasn't for the death of George Floyd and the coronavirus,
yes,
we would not be even talking about this.
I know Trump, 45, excuse me.
45, don't.
I know he brought it up, and my aunt just made that. She's like, you know, Trump informed us about Juneteenth. He did make that, you know, he put that out there right before he left, that he was going to make it a holiday. I think maybe in 2020 or 2019.
What?
He did.
I don't remember.
He actually did talk about that. And then there was a woman, if you remember, she was an 84-year-old woman who walked from Texas to D.C. And she's called the grandmother of Juneteenth. And that was last year. So she walked just to signify that Juneteenth needed to be a federal holiday. So it's been in the discussion, at least federally. They've been talking about it for at least a year or two. But I do think that, again, to your point, nothing really gets moved forward until tragedy happens around here.
It doesn't. And you know, the thing is, though, and I don't want to be controversial, but I just have to say this, and you know how I'm about to say. MLK got a federal holiday before Juneteenth. Now, once again, MLK is an astonishing man. We don't even need to belabor on MLK all that much. But the fact that what has been known as Juneteenth, you know, going through the communities, going from Galveston up the West Coast, and even hitting certain pockets of the South in certain areas, and, you know, Iowa, you know, is having Juneteenth celebrations, and even
and they
Toronto.
were doing that before the whole, you know, uprising. They were doing that in like 2013.
Yeah, before it became popular. Yeah. You know, but then the thing is, though, I'm pretty sure that somebody mentioned Juneteenth should be a federal holiday, but they just kept kicking the can down the street, just kept kicking the can. But MLK, that's easy. So, you know, it's one of those things of, and also the whole fact about Juneteenth is we should not lose focus on the mission. Just because they gave us Juneteenth and took Uncle Ben's off the box, don't mean that we still don't want to get, you know, we do not want to get shot in the street. We do not want to be ostracized and have systematic injustices. Like, you're not still getting the point. You know, like, just because you're giving us this holiday does not mean that the fight is over.
I mean, just a prime example, and somebody in the chat, please, my brother made a comment. The U.S. said no to the Black Statue of Liberty, but France was able to keep the shackles around the feet of the current statue we have today.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So one thing I will say, so as we already know about the anti-hate crime for the Asian community, right?
Yes,
so they put that into effect. Now, I don't know the details, so I'm not going to get into the details, but at least this was a conversation about we are not going to let the Asian community be brutalized, you know, without some sort of safeguard in place to make sure that they're, you know, protected.
Right.
Meanwhile, we have some southern states that do not believe lynching is a crime. It's not outlawed, right? So we've got some that are like, it's not even written as it being, I think Rand Paul was one. Rand Paul was like, I need to know what lynching means before I sign this. It's like, everything when it comes to the Black community has to have some sort of blood attached to it before anything moves the dial. And it's really frustrating.
It has to be in a way in order to get the white sympathy. Just like with the voting rights. if it wasn't for Bloody Sunday and people in their living room eating their TV dinners in front of their two TVs and watching these children getting, that was SNCC students, those are college students, getting mowed down by the police, people probably would not have felt as much if it wasn't for, we always say, the slave narratives, sort of going around and being circulated and published in different areas. They wouldn't, so with coronavirus, because the thing is, though, with George Floyd's passing, would that have been just another instance of us just going out there to protest, but wouldn't have gotten as much change? It was coronavirus that
Corona propelled all of this.
All of this, because we had no choice but to sit there and watch and face it.
Yep.
So
the world, honestly, this is, don't take this, I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Let me just say this. Coronavirus was a blessing. It was a gift and a curse, right? It was a gift and a curse.
It was.
The fact that people lost their lives off of this particular illness obviously is a curse, and I wish that never happened. But we needed to slow down as just a community of human beings. We needed to slow down. So that part, I think, is the gift, but it's also the part of when humans are stagnant, what do? We're trying to find information. We need something to do if we're not in that cycle that we've been in for eons at this point. Right. So last year was just us literally consuming information after information, just consuming. And I think all of the things that happened with Ahmaud Arbery, with Breonna Taylor, and of course, George Floyd, that catapulted, I think, people buying all these white fragility books and all these books that have been out for 15, 20 years. Now all of a sudden people care because they have no choice but to sit and see it because we have nothing to do. So I think that's the gift behind it. But yeah, I really do think coronavirus propelled all the things that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, exactly, because it's just unearthing. So once you say it was a blessing and a curse at the same time, but we're here today with it, and to get back to it, I just think. Yeah, I think you're just right. I really don't. We really don't argue that much. People want us to have some stuff, but I just agree with you most of the time. But let's go into the chat. Aunt Lisa, she said, "Isn't Mississippi one of those states who haven't abolished lynching?" I believe so, because they were the last state to ratify abolishing slavery. So exactly. That was only 8 years ago. So they probably want to hold on to something. The little keepsake.
Exactly.
I know that was not right.
Sad,
okay,
but yes.
But thank you guys again for joining us. Right now we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on Twitch. We do have some people actually watching us over on Twitch and in Facebook. So hello. I'm in the chat. So if you guys want to go ahead and get in the conversation, the chat that you see right now on the screen, that is actually on our YouTube. So if you actually want to get into the community, go over to their YouTube channel, Through a Culture Lens, and join that conversation. But please, on all the platforms, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell.
Share.
You know what to do. And share. Please do. And today we're talking about Juneteenth. Today's title is Juneteenth Unchained. I am Michael Anthony, and I'm always with Amber Gray. So, and of course, as we've had yesterday, or today was signed, but today becomes the first day of Juneteenth. Signed unanimous, except for there was 14 people who didn't.
GOP, yeah.
All GOP? There was no
all GOP.
No Democrats.
Are you shocked?
No, I'm not shocked at all. It's just, so tell me in the chat, what did you guys feel? Did you guys feel vindicated? Did you guys feel like, I don't know, happy, overjoyed? Did you feel like, you knew it was coming? How did you guys feel? Me, I sort of felt that finally, that at least we're getting something, for our independence, because we haven't had anything to sort of celebrate the abolishment of slavery. We celebrate all of these other independence days, but we don't. I mean, Cinco de Mayo, if I'm not mistaken, is for
not national though. That's not like a federal.
It's not federal. It's true. But Cinco de Mayo is more recognized than
it is,
Juneteenth.
which is a complete. Which, if you do the history of Cinco de Mayo, it's a very obscure holiday in an obscure Mexican town that even Hispanics are like, huh?
Right. But that was for independence though, correct?
I believe so.
I believe if please check us in the chat if Cinco de Mayo is not for independence.
Cinco de Mayo info, please tell us.
But then of course, we have 4th of July, obviously, for the succession from England. But now it's like we have something of our own. It's not a month, it's not MLK, it's something that celebrates all people of color, well, all black people rather, of enslaved people in America. And I, just reflecting, it does feel like, I'm glad I was alive to, I guess witness this history. But then it's also sad because we should have been celebrating this history for so much,
Exactly. And like I've been saying, agreed. And like I've been saying, in order for them to have celebrated this a long time ago, before the racial reckoning, they would have had to acknowledge slavery in general, which they don't like to necessarily do, which is why most of these messed up educational history books are like, and the slaves were friends with those slave owners and they were sharecroppers. Like it's always
they shared watermelon on the porch.
Exactly. It's always sanitizing a horrible practice, which we know was like, there's no words to describe how awful it was. Yeah. So it took this whole kind of terrible year for them to finally go, okay, yeah. So we had slaves and now we let them go. But it's still, like you said in the beginning, it's one of those things where I'm happy we have it, but people need to do their research and know that this was not the end of slavery in 1863 or in 1865. The practice continued.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I mean, and it still continues to this day, but I think at least this can be our one family reunion. That's what I'm hoping on. Is that this becomes our one family reunion of all black people. That family and friends, and that there's block parties, and that there's no violence, and that there's kids having a good time and learning a little bit more about their heritage, and just really pretty much having this be a celebration as opposed to July 4th, which is an exhibition, in my opinion. And I'm going to say that on live air. Juneteenth should be a celebration. July 4th at this point is an exhibition.
Yeah, I agree. And I told you, I just want Juneteenth to be one of those days where, you wake up, even if you're not a practicing Christian or you don't believe in Christmas, but how Christmas, there's something in the air. Let Juneteenth be that. Let it just be peace of some sort in the black community. Of course, like, the chat, like my brother was saying, I didn't feel nothing about it. I'd rather talk about reparations, right? 100%. 1,000.
Of course, the Gray family. Yeah, good. Yeah.
1,000.
I feel you. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I do feel like a lot of the Juneteenth talk is to push and belabor the reparations talk.
It is
just a little bit.
It is.
And I agree with that, Tristan. And it's like, I do want this to be kind of like you said, like that kind of like black family reunion weekend. Like, let it just be that at the very least. Like, let's take away all of the BS that we all kind of feel about it and kind of like the hypocrisy around it, and just make it a peaceful weekend with your family, honestly. And then actually we have a comment from Facebook. Shonda, my friend Shonda's in there. She says, I feel it is somewhat smoke and mirrors, something to appease people of color without addressing true needs. What about voting rights that are impacting people of color disproportionately? They just don't get it. I want to be happy, but I am currently jaded. So, I agree, Shonda. My girl took the whole, this ain't enough. This is not enough. And I agree. I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, mainly, I think my main frustration goes back to the critical race theory conversation.
Yeah.
I am tired of people, every time I go online about the Juneteenth, just the last couple of days, I never heard of Juneteenth. I never heard. If you would put real history in the students from K through 12 in their history books instead of this whitewashed, just ridiculous history that is sanitized what actually happened, really get to the nitty gritty as to why there's this kind of hierarchy and, status, if you want to put it that way, based on racial ethnicity or whatever, because of the structural racism, because of how this country was built. Put that in the school system. This does not mean, hey, little Jimmy, hey, little so-and-so, you're beneath me now. And I'm, black people are raising in ranks. No, it's like, let's just learn the facts. I'm tired of not learning the facts. I'm tired of people having to dive deep to get the real information. We should not have to dive this deep to get real information. It's really just unbelievable at this point. So put the stuff in the school so these kids know. That's what I want to see. I want to see the money, but I want to see kids learning real history and not this BS stuff.
Yeah, but that's how you control folks. That's it. It seems like that all of our streams are just waiting to jump back on. And we are live and direct. Back. Sorry about that. I don't know. For some reason, y'all. I think, you know what? I think they tapped in our line. I think they tap in online. Just saying, we talked about some real stuff. I think they tapping in on that.
We said a key word, and they were like, "Shut them down."
Shut them down. And just like Aunt Lisa was saying, she said she hasn't noticed on social media. It's very quiet today about Juneteenth. So maybe they are trying to censor us, and we ain't even showing nothing copywritten either. So
nothing today.
All right, but so of course we can belabor on all of that.
It's just the truth. The truth hurts. So.
It just hurts so much, but. Sort of moving along, because of course we have way more that we want to discuss with you, but not really that much more. But one of the things that we just wanted to sort of talk about was the content. And of course, we like to share different content, media, different things that you out there can watch, because we watch a lot of shows, we watch a lot of movies. And one interesting thing that me and Amber found while doing research on this is that there is little to no content about Juneteenth. Like, it's barren out there as far as, like, Hollywood has not given within the past 2 years. Okay, we're not talking about Juneteenth, pre George Floyd and pre-COVID. Since then we've had some things, but we just have a list up here of just a couple of shows or movies that we want to kind of talk about. 13.
But in general, there's not a lot of content. This time frame or the last 100 years, there just really isn't a lot.
I'm gonna kick up my heels
really any at all, which is kind of crazy, but. This is just a list of 5 real quick things, and all these things will be in the show notes. 13, which is on Netflix. It's always going to be on Netflix. We talked about 13. We love the show. It's actually our top 10 collectively as far as black content that people should watch. So 13 is for anybody, I think, that is 12 and over. That's just me. Juneteenth, a celebration of overcoming, which is an ABC special. I think it aired last year, and I think they're doing a new one. I hope they better not do a rerun from last year.
You didn't last long on that one.
I didn't last.
Her first opening sentence, you were like, "Not today." Jesus.
Yeah. I was watching it, and then they were like, "Oh, in ABC 75 years, this is the first time we're giving a programming centered around Juneteenth." I was done. I was just like, I can't take this. Y'all didn't even have to tell me that. Y'all could have just been like, we're so happy to have you guys here as we talk about a story and a holiday that has gone too far without being celebrated and receiving its role. Just acknowledge. Exactly. That's it. You telling me about your history and that, this is the first time y'all doing it? Okay, I didn't need to see that. The production probably was good. The story could have been good, but we don't know. Then we have the only documentary that we really saw after scouring the internet was Juneteenth Jamboree. It's a PBS documentary done by a local PBS station in Austin, Texas. You can't even get it on Facebook. Matter of fact, I believe that I have it right here, playing right now. This is it right here, and it's actually a really good documentary.
Very informative.
Very informative. Okay. Well, there's 2 things though. So me and Amber, this is where we don't agree on. To me, I think that the documentary was missing a little flair. Not even flair, it just felt like, I don't know, it could have been polished a little bit better, in my opinion. But I think that the content that they put in here, the information is priceless. So this is definitely going to be in the show notes.
I think there might be some audio issues still. They're saying I can't hear you very well.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we should be coming through right now. I mean, everything should be straight.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Is it my side? I'm not sure, Aunt Lisa. Not sure. I don't know. I know I have all my levels coming in straight. I don't know if that little interruption sort of knocked us off. Yeah, if anybody else can't hear us, please let us know. Please let us know. But yeah, so I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, the movie. I just think that the production value could have been a lot better. That's all.
The production value was not good, but like I said, I took it for the information. I wasn't wanting much. I just wanted information to be to the point. I didn't need the flair. I didn't need the flair for my particular needs at this moment. I didn't need the flair.
To spread throughout Texas.
Okay, so I think somebody said they see the documentary over us. I think that's what it was. Is that perhaps the audio for the documentary was probably playing. So apologies about that, folks. Thank you for letting me know, Shonda, over in our Facebook group. And also, she talks about High on the Hog was incredible. Episode 4 covered it all and was outstanding, which I haven't seen. High on the Hog.
Is that the documentary about the cultural traditions on eating? Eating?
Well, black cuisine. on
Okay,
Black
good.
Panther,
I'll watch that because I started it, but I didn't pay attention enough, and I got to go back. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Okay.
good to know. Thank you, Shauna. She coming in with the info.
Right. Exactly. Okay, no, I think everybody says they can hear us good now. Okay, so
Okay.
sorry about that, folks. Didn't know that that audio was coming through, but this is through a culture lens. This is raw, uncut, straight to you. So that's how we're gonna give it to you. But the documentary it was the only one that was 27 minutes. It really goes into depth about the different things that happen and through history. Just for me, it was just hard for me to sort of consistently stay focused on the show, just because the production, I just felt, with it being made in 2014, could have just been brought up a little bit more. I mean, we do have like other, other documentaries, or videos that were just as good, that I thought was just. What did you say? Oh, hold on.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell this had budget issues. I mean, they definitely did not have the budget to probably put this together. But I think I'm biased too because he focused on a lot of California cities that were celebrating Juneteenth, because that's one thing that I found interesting, that you mentioned that there wasn't a whole lot of celebration where you lived, North Carolina and even Colorado, even though that is west.
Right.
But even Omar mentioned that he didn't see a whole lot of celebrating going, at a certain points in Maryland, the Maryland area. But California, Santa Cruz, Vallejo, Richmond, Oakland, Berkeley, we're as you can see, that's more Northern California. Because of the Black Panther Party, there's a different kind of cultural feel in the Northern California area, where I can see why we were celebrating in all those different cities for so long. So I like seeing that in the documentary too.
It was very good.
A little biased.
Exactly. And then this is the Vox documentary right here. This one, highlights, some of the things only about 7 minutes long. So this is definitely one that I would say to please watch and, support. And then, also, and we actually have it up here too. And also the old classic, Glory. TriStar Pictures, which is owned by Columbia. I mean, that's Denzel Washington with the tear winning Best Supporting, because it's the only film that talks about Union black soldiers, or black Union soldiers, who fought for their freedom. And so I think in order to commemorate Juneteenth, let's talk about the people who were literally fighting for their freedom in the only, at least major motion picture that highlights these men's sacrifice for that. So this is just some content. There's some other ones. I don't know. Can you think of another one that we should have maybe threw up here?
I can't think of another one, but that, the fact that, if you think about it too, just to kind of go back to our original conversation, Glory, and the fact that the Union soldiers had black soldiers within their ranks, tells you that one of the main reasons why slavery was abolished was to keep the black soldiers. I don't think without us, the Union would have won.
Well, no. I mean, they documented where black soldiers were overtaking bases, and just having that infantry and adding to it, where you can have 300 white Union soldiers and then another 350 black soldiers, then that is what made the Union overwhelmingly win, because of the extra, basically, bodies. Because that's what war is all about. How many, who can be the last man standing?
That's right.
And we just happen to have more people, because we had people, or the Union had more people, as slavery, the Underground Railroad, abolishing slavery up north, and people want to fight for their freedom, and people running to the Union to go ahead and get them a rifle so they can fight for freedom. So if it wasn't for black soldiers, I mean, we'd be
Confederate probably.
We'd be
in another country probably too.
Right. Yeah, I know, Annalisa, it does hit you hard. But it's
been years since I've seen it.
Oh, it's so good. I showed it to Zion not that long ago.
I'm glad that, he's at that age now where he's watching 13th. He's watching Glory. He's really putting the pieces together now. So.
Yeah. So, just want to kind of give a couple of shout outs to, some content that's out there, but there's really not that much, but the things will be in our show notes. And I don't know what other content, there's also a book. It's called, what was it called? Becoming Juneteenth? Hold on, let me find it. Oh, Come Juneteenth. So I didn't want to put the picture up here, but if you go on Amazon and you look for a book, it's a fictional novel called Come Juneteenth. It's based off of the synopsis. It's about a young woman who feels like she's part of the family, and then the Union soldiers come down, enslaved woman, obviously. And the Union soldiers come down, tell her that she is no longer enslaved, and then she runs away because her supposed family has been lying to her all this time. And it's about her journey during this. And the book is retailing for like $90 hard copy. But I think you can get the Kindle for like cheaper, but
$6-7 or something.
Right.
But again, this kind of, do you see that we're literally grasping at straws to tell y'all about some Juneteenth information? We're grasping at straws to provide you with quality Juneteenth historical resources, media-wise, because there's nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm shocked. Like, where's Spike? Where's Ava? Where is the big budget documentary or moderate budget documentary about this particular time in African American history? Where is it?
It doesn't sell. It doesn't sell. They don't think that there's anything out there. But my uncle, he's in their chat now. He's stirring up trouble.
I see. I love
yeah. He's stirring the pot. He is stirring the pot. He about to get us kicked off just to say that.
He's a rebel over there in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. And oh my, yeah, definitely shout out to PBS. You know, they're the only ones that actually took the initiative to actually put something out there. But you know,
and they stand alone in doing that. Honestly, outside of now, we're seeing some streaming like the Vox and that sort of those platforms that are doing things now.
Right.
Vice and stuff like that.
But like, okay, and we're gonna move on because we don't want to make this because we want everybody to enjoy their Juneteenth holiday. Right. But it's amazing how we have a museum, a Smithsonian museum, about African and African American studies. I mean, African American history museum, correct?
Right.
They have the Smithsonian Channel, which did like videos throughout the museum to help them curate and also produce some things. Yeah. So it would almost be like, why didn't they take the initiative? They have a channel, right? They, to say, oh, this is a market that is not being serviced right now.
Well, and this is part of the complaint that I have too. Now that it's a federal holiday, we're going to be seeing McDonald's. Here's a Juneteenth burger now. Here's your, you got a $10 off at whatever Popeyes now for June. It's going to be
Popeyes.
It's going to be so commercialized.
Now
it's going to be beaten to the ground at this point because. So right now we're not seeing a whole lot of information, but we're going to get an influx of probably some shoddy work and some, capitalizing on the dollars.
Yes, I 100%. Yeah, that's something that I'm so glad you brought up because I know we talked about it. Is that now Juneteenth? How is it going to be protected? Because now there's a federal holiday. Now it's up. For grabs. And me and Amber actually did a research to see like who owns the copyright to Juneteenth.
Who owns the copyright of Juneteenth? We were like, who owns? I need to know who. Yesterday I said, okay, so MLK. We understand that MLK's family, he has a legacy, so they're not going to put anything out there with MLK all over it, right? He's got children that are still alive.
Correct. Yep.
But who owns Juneteenth? Who owns that word?
Right. And we found that there were 2,199 different variations of the ownership of Juneteenth. So God bless those people. Hope they do something real with it, even though there were some that were the last names didn't seem like they were for the culture. But, we have allies everywhere. So hopefully, God bless you for doing that. But yeah, that's what you have to be careful for is these companies now trying to put marketing dollars into a holiday that they probably didn't even care whether or not it got passed. Matter of fact, they probably upset because now they got to pay you, and you ain't even at work.
Exactly.
And like the Gucci's and like you said, the Popeyes, maybe even the Papa John's. These places that were canceled.
NRA.
That would be.
Y'all could have a good June 18th today, I guess.
I honestly would get would I get that patch from the NRA? I don't know. I might. NRA.
They gotta start having black. Let's see if they start having. Well, I know we have black gun clubs anyway.
Would
it be an NRA sponsored one now? Will they actually sponsor black people owning guns?
I don't know. That is hilarious though. But you're definitely going to see now Juneteenth just plastered marketing everywhere. So just be careful.
Without the education.
Exactly.
Without the education.
And remember these companies that are promoting this Juneteenth, just check their history. See if they was always with the people that Juneteenth is supposed to celebrate, or were they not? Or are they just trying to use it to get your dollars? Yeah. So just be careful with that,
That's right.
And, so then it's like, what do we do now? What are the Juneteenth traditions? You know, this is sort of, we're in,
uncharted territory for some of us. Yeah.
Uncharted territory, you know.
Yeah.
So, and most of us, we've had traditions with Christmas, like you mentioned earlier, Thanksgiving, you know, people go on vacations on Labor Day or Memorial Day, you know. We have all these things that we do, even 4th of July. That's your tradition is what? Fireworks. What is the tradition for Juneteenth, or what do you think it was going to be? Or
I think it's going to be what many of us have been doing before. I think it's going to be, you know, family get together, barbecue, you know, that just family togetherness, like a Thanksgiving kind of thing. I don't think it's going to be, like you said, I don't think it's going to be the exhibition of, well, let me hold that. Right. If you're in a hood area like me, they're going to make it an exhibition because I've been getting fireworks since April. So they're going to probably do some fireworks tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be more of a family thing. I don't see it being, I don't know what else it could be. Like gifts? Like, is that what you mean? Like, are we going to be doing like a gift exchange? Like what exactly could we do outside of just family get together with like some sort of potluck, some sort of barbecue, some sort of cookout?
Honestly, tell you the truth, I feel like it's going to start with block parties. Festivals.
Oh, that'd be nice. Which we had one last year. We had a block party.
Right. I was in Anacostia yesterday because that's where I teach my class. And in the gated area next to Big Chair, they have already vending tents up over in Anacostia, getting prepared for Juneteenth. So I really think it's going to be more of like a day of like, we might see parades in the morning. Yeah. Almost like how HBCU homecomings are. That would be dope. Now that's probably where we need to kind of get some inspiration from is HBCU homecomings. And whoever has not been to an HBCU homecoming, you got to go because then you know what I'm talking about. If you have been, you know what I'm talking about. It starts off in the morning with a nice parade. You know, they even make it a week long, most HBCUs, but you get the parade. Then you have a game or some sort of function. That's when the festival can be. And then at night, people just go out and party and be grown and just do what they want to do.
Tailgate, you got that,
You got your tailgate, and you bring your family out and different things like that. It's just like, where can people tailgate at? You know, I guess, what would the football thing, and I guess that may have to be like a concert or like a festival. That's where I'm seeing Juneteenth going, but hopefully we have some cultural curators out there that will make sure that they still keep the truth and the information intact as far as Juneteenth is what I would want them to do.
That's what I want to. I don't want to be Debbie Downer. That's what I want to. But do you think people want that? I feel like we're at this weird apex of our culture where we want the information, but we want it in the way that we want it. And people, when they go out, especially after being in quarantine for, you know, still somewhat in quarantine for a year, it's like, we have to find ways to repackage this information in digestible and entertaining ways. Because I don't think that just this, everybody, you know, because it's like, I remember going to, when festivals were a thing, because, you know, they're not right now, but it's like, when we were going to festivals before, they would have like that morning, the morning time would be like, let's talk about the issues or whatever it is. So like one of the festivals in DC that I loved going to was like Broccoli Fest. So that started off as like healthy.
Broccoli City, right?
Yeah, something like Broccoli City, something like that. So like, it started off as like a healthy festival with like, you know, healthy foods and talking about, and they had like yoga and all this stuff, but it turned into the ratchet, and then they started having ratchet artists. So it's like we kind of have this seesaw of like consciousness and ratchetness, which I don't think is wrong, but I think that that's where Juneteenth could go, unless we're careful about the message and the programming of how we really want to be impactful and how we want to educate. Not just black, you know, the black youth, but just people in general. So I just hope people are really thoughtful when it comes to, you know, when they're starting to curate these festivals and things like that. I just hope they're just really just careful. That's all.
But see, the thing is, though, it's content or cash. You know, is the quality of the content going to be there, or are you just trying to get a money grab? Because if you're trying to do the content, then you would probably spend maybe on some things that may not be expensive. But if you want to get, like you said, Lil Yachty or whoever to come through and be the headliner of a Juneteenth concert, you'll get people to show up, but is that what Juneteenth is about?
Yeah, that's the thing.
But we will.
And that's the line that we have a hard time with.
Right. It is. So just going to the chat real quick. Do you have anything? Anybody in the chat? 'Cause I do have something in Facebook.
Let's see. Aunt Lisa said we had all of downtown San Jose blocked off. That's right. Back in the day, Lake Merritt, that's in Oakland, where they had performances and art exhibits, contests. Not so much anymore. Yeah, I'm hoping it starts back up, Aunt Lisa. I think I think that they've probably been doing it kind of small scale, maybe not the Lake Merritt or downtown San Jose scale, but I think they've been doing it still. Because I do see still, outside of this year, I do see little things, little festivals, little things popping up. I don't see a whole lot of people at them,
Right.
Prior to this whole thing. So we'll see how it goes, next year, because obviously this year is too, people are not going to be scrambling as much to put something huge together.
That's true.
But next year, let's see how it goes. That'll really be the barometer for what Juneteenth celebrations look like.
Absolutely. And Shonda over in Facebook, she says, well, I think we should honor the red traditions of Juneteenth. I don't know what that is, Shonda.
Yeah, what is that? She said the red tradition?
Yeah, that's what she said, the red traditions of Juneteenth. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about that.
But she said that she plans on resting when needed. I know people get upset when you say you plan to relax, etc., but our ancestors were enslaved for free labor. The last thing I plan to do is work.
She's got a point there. Don't you email me, call me about nada.
Right.
Nothing.
Oh, especially today? On my day
Exactly.
off? Oh, yeah, you better not. Yeah, see.
That's right.
Oh, Aunt Lisa said that we just need to stop giving them what they expect from us.
That too.
Yeah.
That and Tristan said, I'm worried that Juneteenth's going to be co-opted like other movements, and that's what I'm saying. That's exactly. That's my fear. Whenever it's about Black people, Black content, Black history, it gets co-opted. I mean, you go to Black History Month, Target, a whole collection of T-shirts, and I'm sure they're not by Black, content creators, by Black.
Target's been a little bit better. Target's been a little bit better.
Are.
Yeah, but yeah, most of them.
But I haven't done research enough. I'm saying that as far as I don't mind that, but I hope that they're giving a shot to the T-shirt makers who are Black. I hope they're giving a shot to, the people that make mugs who are Black, as opposed to the whatever big T-shirt maker there is that's obviously not owned by a Black person. That's where I just hope that there's just more thought and more careful consideration when it comes to the marketing and then just merchandising.
And you know what? Who has the power in that? The Black dollar. So it almost should be where we just spend money within the community for this weekend.
Yeah.
Almost make this into the Black Friday weekend. Straight up.
We Buy Black should really be blowing up. Let's put everybody's
exactly.
creations out there, right? Yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
Buy Black movies. If they have these festivals, buy from the Black vendors. Go get your shea butters. Go get your Ankh symbols. Go get your T-shirts. Buy from the food truck or go to a Black-owned restaurant. Maybe this should be the time to where then we show the economic impact that we truly have, especially when it comes to our own community. I would like for that to get some traction. But I guess that's where the festivals and things like that come together and coordinating and stuff like that. But really, the family atmosphere and the currency, the economic impact is really what I would love to see us have as far as traditions.
And I have an idea, which I'm not going to share on this. I have an idea of what you just saying.
Okay, nice. Well then, and of course, whatever you have going on, please share it with us. On all the platforms, we'll be monitoring our Instagram. I know I'll be putting stuff up on Instagram because tomorrow, DC is about to be live and direct. Chocolate City is about to be, even though it's gentrified, it's chocolate chip city, but tomorrow it will not be. Everybody
my friends agreed. My friend sent me some sort of kind of pop-up shot similar to what you're talking about in Anacostia. I'm not sure if it was the same one, but it was sold out. I was like, girl, which time are you going? Because there's no tickets left.
No, it's gonna be amazing. I have family coming up from North Carolina that I'm about to hang out with tonight. So this is about to be something big. So I know I'm gonna be posting some pictures. You're gonna be having some things going on. So just hit us up. Juneteenth TCL. Let people know. This would be another way to let people know about the show because people will be wondering what does TCL mean? Well, it's through a cultured lens. It's through a cultured lens. So,
hashtag us, please. Yeah.
So hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe. If you're watching on your phone, all you have to do is just minimize the chat real quick. Just hit that X on the chat if you're on the phone. Hit that thumbs up. It helps us go a long way, especially with it being Juneteenth today. We're kind of doing an early show, but all the algorithms definitely jump us up, and we really appreciate it. We work really hard to try and get this information out there, and just so we can get as many views and hopefully touch as many hearts as we can on this subject and all the subjects that we talk about.
That's right.
Oh, I think Shana, when it came back, she said to honor Juneteenth, it has been customary to dye food red, drink red soda drinks, and eat red food. It symbolizes the red blood of African Americans that was shed through slavery. Also, red drinks were more expensive and they were not able to drink regularly, so they would drink it on Juneteenth. Interesting. Get that.
Interesting.
Only on Through a Culture Lens do you be getting knowledge like that. Did not know. Look at that.
That's something I want to look into.
Oh,
That's interesting. Okay.
Well, the facts, homie. There you go. I'm gonna have to look that up.
This is why we're here. We like the information shared. This is why we do this. This is why we like the streaming and doing it live, so we can hear from you all, and you add to the conversation and to the discussion every time.
Every time, that's why you guys are the third host. We can only do but so much.
That's right.
But we love having you guys being a part of the conversation, letting us know how you feel, and then also informing us because we're sponges. We just want to really bring all this research that we do to you and then see how you guys respond to it and react to it, and then we want this to be more of a community conversation rather than me and Amber just feeling like we're the most intelligent black people in the world.
Yes, we intelligent, but we need we need each other. We're a community. This is why I'm a community-based person.
Exactly, as we all are. Okay, anything else that we have to say about, I don't know, anybody in the chat, it seemed like we covered everything, right?
Yeah, so my aunt just wanted to mention that the Mexican Independence Day is actually September 16th.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why Cinco de Mayo is always kind of like,
yeah, it is weird.
Why are we focusing on that again?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Uncle Pete says, for example, the leaders of the Proud Boys are selling Black Lives Matter T-shirts. Really? Oh, that's the co-option?
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
Again, that's another thing that's been co-opted and morphed and went in directions. It's just, yeah.
It's just sad.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I think, I think this is, sort of our final thoughts. We were happy about Juneteenth being a holiday, something that we look forward to it, but it does come with some costs and it does come with some misinformation that's out there. So please know your history, know when the 13th Amendment came about, that the Emancipation Proclamation was just an announcement, and that Juneteenth does signify one community knowing about them not being enslaved anymore, them getting their emancipation, but there was still slavery going on and a lot of laws and people not recognizing it until up to 8 years ago when it officially was abolished.
That's right. And look up General Orders number 3. That's one of the main reasons. The General Order number 3, General Granger, he's the one that had this kind of huge platform to announce that the slaves in Texas were no longer enslaved. So that's kind of where people focus, is that particular general order. I'm not sure if any other area in the U.S. received general orders outside of Galveston. So look that piece up too.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Well, and then of course, we love you guys. And actually, just to let you know, next episode we will be finishing up our Nielsen series. We did a 3-parter. I'll probably put some links once this for the replay for people who come back and watch us. But of course, if you guys remember, we did 3 parts before. We did a report on that diversity viewing report that they did. We brought in a market researcher or a researcher who does quantitative and qualitative data. And also we brought in a mental health professional to talk about the stuff that we have. But this week is a little bit different though. Next week is a little bit different. Tell us a little bit about that, Amber.
Well, we'll actually be talking to an executive at Nielsen. She spearheaded one of the reports that we highlighted on the show a couple of months ago. So we'll be having kind of a deep dive discussion about her take on the report data, where she sees the viewing habits of the Black community, and just kind of a bunch of information. And we'll be doing that on Wednesday because we are moving. That's another thing. We're moving to Wednesdays because we've got some scheduling things happening. So hopefully you guys will be here next Wednesday, and we will be in the chat live and direct, but we will not be live.
We will not be live. Wednesday. Yeah, we will not be live because of the way that we had to get the scheduling. We have to actually record the interview earlier. So we will be posting it that night, but we will both be in the chat talking with you guys as the chat's going that night. So just a little bit of program alert on that. And yeah, that's about it. So, happy Juneteenth, girl.
Happy Juneteenth. Please celebrate. Please be kind to one another.
Yes.
Please celebrate responsibly.
Yes.
Do your research. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There might be, we've done a lot of research, but there might be some things that we got a little wrong. We do our best, but do your research and just continue to do your research. I mean, you guys always do, but yeah. Yeah,
just continue to do your research. Just keep your mind open, become a sponge, and you'll just be amazed at what you find out when you go down that rabbit hole. Absolutely. So happy Juneteenth to everybody. We love you. Thank you for always being with us. And love, peace, and power.
Have a good one. hear me?